Hi, this is Robert Clinkenbeard and David Anderson with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. We're going to take 20 minutes of your life to deliver some amazing content from accomplished leaders and business owners to provide you some value, to help you scale your business, to become a better father and push yourself to higher goals personally. We hope you really enjoy these shows, and we really encourage you to share this with your friends and network to help share these messages. I'm super excited to announce a new partnership we have with Site Recon. If you're tired of measuring properties, the Site Recon platform fully automates the measurements so you can then focus on sales. Think measurements, think Site Recon. Miles, I'm really excited that you could join me today on the Commercial Landscapers podcast. So, Miles, we've known each other now for probably 3-ish years. And I have a great deal of success, respect for you in terms of your passion for the industry. You've built an unbelievable company. You're the obviously president of Farmside, and love our audience just to know a little bit about you, your background, and how you got into the industry.
Yeah, my background is I'm a dairy farmer from childhood up, and then I was able to get involved with my brother's operation, he started a nursery, re-wholesale nursery, and we started planting plants and grew a love for it and grew a love for making projects really nice, and went on to Rutgers after I spurred some interest. They had a real nice program there during the winter months, and drew even more interest. So I went to Rutgers and studied my background's landscape architecture, took what I needed to know, and didn't complete the college studies because the entrepreneurial spirit in me just wanted to get going. So that's the way we started things. And meanwhile, at college, I was running a business, and it grew from there. So it's been a real neat story. From there, to keep myself refined and sharp, I was heavily involved with NALP, or ALCA, back in the day, and it's Planet, and then NALP as it stands today. So heavily involved with leadership and the various events. And we grew our company from a design build to a maintenance and then lawn care. And we added plant health care. We purchased on the company and plant health care. And we also did snow removal as well, and that's really our service mix. So there's 5 profit centers within Farmside as it stands today, and peak seasons will be anywhere from 25 to 30 people that work for us. And my wife works right alongside me. She keeps me sharp or humble, whichever way you want to put it. But she's been a real strategic person that we actually get along real well, and it's been a real blessing to have her. And our operation is at my house, and we have 65 acres of property that we're able to operate out. And Robert, you've been here, so you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, I mean, I had the pleasure of coming out and seeing you and Lisa and meeting your family, and see you've got a real top class operation there. So really appreciate that opportunity to come out and check everything you've got going on. With you, building your company, with you being involved in leadership with NALP, probably one of the challenges that you see is that issue of developing leaders, within the company, within the organization. What are some of the ways that you've seen that develop over the years?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think it's an ongoing thing that you have to be a culture of training and coaching. If you become a culture of top-down approach, you really don't grow a bench. You don't grow passion or ingenuity, and people don't take on initiatives because they're waiting for the orders. You get to own the problems by doing it. So we like to be more of a coaching company where we're looking for them to take initiatives and for them to really aspire. So we really got department heads in our profit centers. So our snow removal, we'll have a team of folks, and we have another team that's involved with our plant health care, lawn care, and our maintenance, and I'm involved with the design build as it stands today. But each one is responsible for those areas and growing their bench and growing and nurturing their replacements is always what we like to tell them. And it takes a lot of work. It's not easy, especially with recruiting and retaining is really the key. And I think sometimes we lose sight of bringing on new people and putting a lot of attention when sometimes you forget about your existing bench, and you put too much attention onto new ones because they demand a lot from you, but keeping refining those people. So we are actively involved with a program and with employee development. We're looking at apprenticeship, we're looking at developing internships, and as well as recruiting from high schools. So those are active programs as it stands today to bring on new bench. Plus, we're also looking to continue to refine our existing team and bring them through the training modules. So,
no, that's tremendous, because it's interesting. There's two terms you used in there. Finding your own replacements, which I think is underused, and then apprenticeships, which again I feel as though is definitely underused within not only our industry but also other industries. So, talk through that a little bit more in terms of, how did you come up with those ideas? What type of success have you seen over the years? I mean, have you seen with your improved employee retention? So talk to you a little bit more.
well, I take no credit. I've been involved heavily again with NALP, but NALP was workforce development, and they brought on the apprenticeship program. And what we liked about the apprenticeship program, one is that the Department of Labor recognizes that within your state, you can get some funding involved with that. We haven't chased that all the way home, but these kids that would come on board with you, you're able to get some Department of Labor resources that you get access to. We're not experts by no means in it. NALP is the expert, and they're coaching us. But what we like about it, it really sets in front of you a organized and formalized training program that you can utilize with your existing employees. And that's the beauty of that whole apprenticeship, because there's requirements and amount of course studies that they have and experience modules that they have to go through in order to get, endorsements along that path. So one is it teaches your staff to be involved and how to train, and that's why we like it. So it had many, because we can get trained in it, because we didn't feel that we were quote unquote a training organization. That's a culture change. We put people in places, put them in a truck, and we learn as you go. And those days aren't there anymore. One, from workman's comp and liabilities, but two, also for retention. That's not a great way to retain a person when you're trying to professionalize them. So a couple points there, Robert.
Right. No, that's really good. Really good. Now that leads me into, I think the green industry has struggled, for many, many years about attracting, new people into the industry. We've gone through, huge challenges over the last year with the whole pandemic. And I feel as though there's a real opportunity now to attract more people into the green industry. You're dealing with working outdoors. There's a big fear of going back to an office type environment with cubicles and confined spaces. So, how do you feel as though we could really make a big push or charge here towards, moving eyes towards our industry?
I think our industry is underappreciated for what we do. Now, granted, it's hard work. And if you don't like hard work, you don't belong in the industry. You have to be a person that enjoys hard work, enjoys the elements of nature. You could be working in the mud and the rain and hot sun or cool sun, and you got the gorgeous days that everybody envies and wish they could be you. So, I think that's one of the things that we have within our industry, but where I think we're underappreciated is the beauty of horticulture and the outdoor spaces that we're building and maintaining. I think that there's so much possibilities for us to really reposition what we are as professionals. And I think, when I go to Holland and other places across the world, those are professionals, and they're recognized as professionals in different countries. And I think in the US, we're growing to be appreciated, but I think it's all a matter of perspective. As we as company and company owners, we need to set that standard of excellence for our staff, and really promote that excellence. And I think that inspires people to be involved with careers and career development of where you're going to bring those staff in their futures. So hopefully I answered your question there, Robert.
No, you did, and it did it really well. How do you feel as though we could make more of an impact? You know, again, you've got a lot of parents that are trying to push their kids in a certain direction. But I just feel as though there should be more of a bigger play or marketing. And again, who should do that? Should that be NALP? Should it be a combined effort of companies and NALP? What's your thoughts around that?
Well, I think we got to be square about this one, to be honest with you, Robert. I've been on the boards. I've been on plenty of calls. I've been well researched on it. The fact of the matter, we are a 3-season industry here in the Northeast, and we got spot shots with snow removal. And that's the problem, is becoming a 4-season company. And that's where the parents get concerned about, for breadwinners long term, how can they sustain building that? And I think that's a gap that needs to be discussed. How can we help those people with the off season to make sure, and we've got guys that collect unemployment. I get it, but that's just valued time and resources that we got to make sure they're fully utilized. I think we got to come to terms with that, and how we position that. If we position it as a positive, you can take the teachers, for example. They are a 3-season organization as well. They get the summers off where we get the winters off, but they get compensated in order for them to do that. So I think once we position that, Robert, and understand that and come to terms with that, and then rebrand that as a positive, not a negative. You get to enjoy the winters and the Christmas times if you're not involved with snow removal and with family, and you could do house projects or whatever. But we got to make sure those people are compensated so that they can sustain that time through those off seasons. Right. So I think there's something about it. Is it NALP? Yeah, it's all of us working together, not just us as companies. I think it's an industry wide, and I applaud what NALP is doing. But I also feel that it's got to start within the states. It's got to start local, and what you do as a company and how you position and treat people, and you become that role model of the solution.
Right. No, that makes sense. I like your answer there. Now, along that same line, I mean, there's obviously technology is beginning to play a bigger role in the involvement of our industry and how we become more efficient. And I was having conversations this morning with, we're using robotic mowers. We have a lot of software systems out there. We're beginning to gather a lot more data out there, and it's just that challenge around how do we handle that data? What do we do with that data to become either more efficient or just getting, maybe it helps along our marketing. But what's your thoughts around the influence of technology within our industry?
I love it. I applaud it. I love where the industry's going. Whether you're going to go to robotics, you're going to go to sustainability, you're going to go to different product lines within lawn care, being more organic. I think there's really exciting stuff that's coming in front of us, and we are just pioneering into those fronts. And I think there's so many neat solutions in there. When you go to the robotic side, I just had a meeting with my guys today, and I said the number one person that we want to be developing in our organization as it stands today is a horticulturalist. Why? Because plants and robots they're not conducive. Robots aren't going to be able to analyze. Well, I shouldn't say shouldn't, but anything's possible. And it's infancy at this point. They can't maintain plant material, prune and identify plants and insects, and divide perennials and stuff. So I feel very strongly the person of your company that you want to be developing is more of a person that is the gardener, so to speak, and your robotics will take care of your mowing of the lawns and how you position your organization. So that's from a maintenance perspective. And I think there's exciting technologies even within the excavation equipment, Robert, of where that's going. So at the end of the day, I feel that, how we handle communication and communication to our clients, we got to link them together. The clients will be online bill paying and all those components too. You didn't even touch that in your question. So there's so many administrative sides that we got to utilize technology. So there's so many neat fronts, but doing work with you or your firm has to be easy. And what you have to do is you have to be out front of taking a look at innovation and trying it and understanding it, and be able to prepare yourself with an answer why you're not utilizing it, and make sure you have or why you are utilizing it. So I think there's so many neat things that you're asking in that question. I by no means am an expert, but I can tell you philosophically what I feel. I think that's the position that we are training towards as we embrace that. So we're all in on this perspective, and we're moving. In 2021, we'll be in it.
Okay, awesome. How did those technology plays, or even just that building up that skilled horticulturalist, how do they play into effectively developing your company to become that destination company?
That's a great question. If I answer it, then I think what you got to do is you got to be, we're a family-based company, and we're a family, we're sincere, and we love what we do. We do what we love. And by the way, we get compensated for it is really, the way we model our organization. And obviously you got to make sure you're profitable, but we really enjoy our work. And what we got to do is just make sure you're taking good care of your people, and you're growing them and developing them. How we become that is just, I think it's going to be, the type of projects that we do, and the equipment and resources that we give the staff are really a draw. But, we don't have people knocking our doors down. But what we do is when you do come through our door, we do make sure we take good care of you and work towards that. So, but that's the thing. So I don't have the golden nugget yet, Robert. That's why I'll do a lot of talking on this podcast, but I don't have that one figured out. All I can do is honestly tell you, we treat them with professionalism.
Well, that's key right there. But, I think even to develop, more from the question, I think, if somebody who's in with a company who's looking to make a move, and they've got the choice of going to a company that treats their employees well, that are looking at technology that are progressive, they're almost looking to better themselves, versus a company who's, stuck in that historical way of doing things and maybe not treating their employees as well, then, it's certainly an easy choice for me. But, I think treating your employees in the first place is the key thing. And I'm pretty sure that word gets out pretty quickly. So jumping on to...
I would say just go ahead, Robert.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say one of the things that we are faced with as an issue is having we have a lot of employees that have been with me over 20 years. And taking that institutional knowledge and that skill sets and training. And that's why we're really looking real hard at employee development, because we got to pass that knowledge base and those skill sets that have developed in these people. And I think that's something you have to analyze in your company. How old is your company in terms of its personnel, and how many young guys have acquired the skills of your older skilled technicians? And I think that's a legitimate audit that you should be doing in your organization. We have. And we didn't like the outcome, because we have 20 years employees that have been with us for 20 years, and we have to start bringing that skill down. So just as a follow-up to your point.
No, that's important, because I think, again, with going back to the respect that what you've done with your company and being a part of NALP, the fact that you're open to hearing ideas, seeing the new technology, looking at all the initiatives that are coming down the pipeline, and being open to making some of those changes or pivots to, again, becoming that sort of, again, destination company, or attracting employees, or just becoming progressive and developing employees. I think it's key, because I see a lot of people just burying their head in the sand. And again, just expecting what's got them there over the last 10, 20 years is going to get them to that next level. And in most cases, I don't see that necessarily working out for them. So, one of the things you touched on earlier, and bringing in that culture of high quality skilled gardeners or horticulturalists. I've come across many landscape companies over, I've been in the industry now for, I hate to think, 35 years, but there's very few companies I come across that really spend so much time and effort on that horticulture phrase, the skills around that. And it's really impressed me. What's made you take that approach? Why do you have that mindset on really focusing on that skill level?
It's amazing. You always have a love of plants, and then you meet clients that really have a love of plants, and they bring you to a space that they stretch you and make you who you are. I think our clients have made us who we are, and they stretched us, but they knew we had the aptitude to achieve their dreams. But they had plant varieties and plant details, and they stretched us with those details. In order to maintain those gardens and sustain those kinds of landscape of that level of detail, that's the inspiration and the beauty of these gardens that we've created over the years have been really awesome. And in order to sustain them and appreciate them, it takes a lot of care. And that's the thing that's coming into play. And we see people that spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and not care for the gardens, and see how overgrown quickly they become, or don't maintain the origin of the design. It's a disaster that you wish you never had that client spend the money on. And I think you got two ends of it, but we try to keep our customers involved with that and bring that appreciation. So it's just learned through the years, Robert. And from that, we're bringing that knowledge base forward and say no. And I feel that if you're really good at gardening and caring for plants at those levels, you set yourself apart from the competition, because everybody's mow and blow and pushing through the projects. But if you have a huge knowledge base, you truly are the professional, and you have an understanding on how to maintain a living environment and keeping it environmentally friendly, and all the components of sustainability tie into that. I think there's just natural wonder that you have to have your hand in nature on. So cool. I think that answers your question.
No, I love it. So you've obviously been very successful in business so far, but I'm sure along the way there's been some issues or some mistakes being made over the years. What was the biggest mistake you feel as though you've made in business that people can learn from?
Wow. There's, yeah. I would say, I do what I love. Probably from a business, Robert, we grew and we're holding around a $3 million company, and we're enjoying that space. I really, we have an interest of growing based on our staff. Don't get me wrong, but that's just a space that we're in, and learning those components. Don't really feel we made terrible mistakes, because I'm probably too calculated and too careful and too protective. And maybe that in itself is, I'm not that risk taker that right. The big companies are willing to take those steps. So maybe that's the problem with Farmside, isn't as we're always careful, because at the end of the day, we want to have delighted customers that we didn't see a staff not achieve the success. Right. So I think our own success is our own failure.
Right. But at the same time, though, as you mentioned a minute ago, you're enjoying it. You're having fun and having a good time right now, which is important.
That's correct.
So, last question for you. As you've grown your company, what are some of the successful chess moves or strategies that you feel as though have been instrumental in the growth of your company?
I think automating our company was really important when it comes to our equipment utilization. Those were important chess moves of standardizing operating procedures in our fleet and our fleet management. That's been really beneficial. We've got some unique equipment that is unique to the industry with our side loaders and all those components that are involved with our maintenance operations. And we have some pretty neat innovations on our equipment. So I think those were great for us to retain employee staff. So when it comes to fleet, I would say there's some pretty neat things within our organization. Other chess moves is just continuing to, be a high-level contractor focused on quality customers and doing quality projects. Those were staying true to your core values of who we were as a company would be a huge chess move. Don't deviate or just get too greedy of taking on too much work when you lose sight of the main people that took care of you. Identify who got you where you are and don't lose sight of them and love on them. Those would be components and chess moves. And business is real simple after that.
Okay, well, that's great words of wisdom. Thank you, Miles, for that. So if people wanted to learn more about you, contact you, find out about your company, or even find out more about I did see your side loaders and really impressive what you've done with them. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
You can email me or that would be absolutely fine. It's Miles at farmside.com. So.
Okay. Awesome. Well, really appreciate your time today, Miles. I know you're a busy person, but thank you for your time today. Some great words of wisdom, and thank you for everything you do for the industry.
All right. Thank you, Robert. Great being with you today.
Hopefully that was pure dead brilliant for you today and you got some great takeaways for your business or your personal life. This is Robert Clinkybeard along with David Anderson, and we'd love to get you and your friends to join us in our future journey. 2 quick things before you go, listeners. Check out our website, commerciallandscapers.com. You can subscribe, you can share with your friends, but more importantly, check out our new sponsor, Site Recon. We're going to make your sales process, your estimating way easier so you can spend more time on your proposals. Thanks everyone. Cheers.